Today I am joined by Dr. Michael Hanna, who is here from Kaiser Permanente, and today we're going to be discussing mental health. Well, Dr. Hanna, thank you so much for joining us. This is a serious subject, especially right now with the last several months where we have our folks who are of the highest risk for getting COVID-19 in isolation practically, and a lot of depressed people are out there. So thank you for joining us.
Well, it's an honor to be here today with you and to share with the residents of Laguna Woods. What a wonderful community. And I want to share my heart with them and a lot of good information that they can use to nurture their own mental wellness during this time of the unusual days of the coronavirus. Something we've never experienced like this, certainly in our lifetime. So we've got a lot of good things ahead to share with your residents. So thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So maybe we should just start off a little bit about the kind of the overall, COVID-19 crisis that we're dealing with and some of the things that you have experienced.
Sure. Well, Americans are definitely reporting a lot higher levels of emotional distress from the coronavirus pandemic, levels that some experts warn may lead to a national mental health crisis. Actually, within our own organization, the Kaiser Family Foundation poll found that more than half of Americans, so 56%, reported that worry or stress related to the coronavirus outbreak has led to at least one mental health effect. These include trouble with sleeping or eating, drinking more alcohol, frequent headaches or stomach aches, short tempers, and just generally other health problems. So it's a very serious situation. And unlike with 911, that hit the country, we rebounded fairly quickly, life went on. This is ongoing. There's so many unknowns. There's so many things we still don't know. So it creates a lot of anxiety about what is going to happen, what is my life? And as we age, I think we're already more aware of our vulnerability.
Well, exactly. And I don't necessarily, I like what you're saying in terms of having some statistics, because
Yes.
I think that really needs to be out there, not necessarily just for the elderly population, but for everyone.
Absolutely.
Because I find even many of the things that you've mentioned, I myself and many of my peers are feeling the same types of things.
Yes, absolutely.
That sleeping issue might be.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think I did an interview about a year ago on sleep and for the network, and we enjoyed that, and everybody could do better sleep. But when the COVID-19 hit, it's just thrown so many people off. They're waking up in the middle of the night. They're waking up too early. So maybe at another time we can redo that, because it's very relevant today with the coronavirus outbreak. But yes, and actually, Lisa, there's kind of a wave. I'm sure you are very healthy and you live life to its fullest. So what happens, even with someone like you or myself, it's more like it comes in waves. It's not like every day we feel this, but then we'll get hit with it, or things just start to build up, and because our routines are all off. So either way, we're very aware that it affects us and the quality of our life, and still we don't know quite what it all means.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's if you were going to compare, I know we can't compare it to really 9/11, but is there any way that you can compare what we're dealing with to any other type of situation that could cause the same types of feelings?
Sure. It's just looking at it historically, every generation has had their monumental crises, sometimes pandemics, endemics. Just in our lifetime, there was the AIDS crisis, there's the 911. But if you go back to our parents' generation, the builders, the greatest generation is, they've been called, they grew up in the Great Depression, they served in the World War II. Before that was the Spanish flu, which was, again, a pandemic. So I think if Lisa put it in a historical perspective, we will get through this. Life does have dark hours, dark moments, but before, certainly our parents, our grandparents have endured these things. And so this one's a little different in that it's unfolding and we can't quite put our hands around it, though we have our best minds, our best people going after it. So is it going to get worse? Should I take the vaccine when it comes out? Why does it hit this person? So that makes it a little different, where before we knew more what we were dealing with in the moment and gave it our best. So yeah, definitely.
Right.
We'll get through it, but it's hard.
And then we follow all the directions
Yes.
that were given to us, and then
Yes.
we end up having to close again. So I mean, you
Yes.
think you're
I
making
know.
progress, and then you're
Oh.
not making progress, and that's
It's
very
so frustrating for
frustrating.
people.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
heard today on the news, you got to watch what you listen to anymore. It's so overwhelming that it's been the worst economic downturn ever. So that's a big statement, and so many people out of work. So, but I think what we both want to do today is just what can we do about it? And I want to go ahead and address that at whatever you want to share, but I'll go ahead and get into the nuts and bolts of how do we get through this.
exactly. I
Yeah.
agree with you. So give us some ideas of some things that we can do.
Well, I'm going to share about 5 or 6 key points with just a lot of practical things the listeners can take away with on effective ways to nurture our mental wellness during this COVID-19 pandemic. So let's start with the body. I'm going to go through them rather quickly, but make sleep a priority. Sleep is the most natural way we recover, ideally about 7 to 8 hours in terms of total time. But you don't want to fixate on a number because sometimes, oh, I'm not getting 8 hours, I'm in trouble. But are you getting enough? And the most practical thing you can do for sleep is try to go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. Move around every day. I encourage people when they wake up, just start moving around. You don't have to work out. Hydrate. Drink about 8 ounces of water or something you enjoy within the first hour of waking up. It just gets everything going. Your blood pressure works better. Your heart's working. Feed your mind and body. So simple guideline on foods. I know we hear it a lot in Orange County. Whole, clean, and green. I'll say it again. When you're looking at food, whole foods, clean foods, and green foods, uh, again, focusing a little more on just how do we do. Another point is follow a schedule. The body, the brain is keyed into a 24-hour circadian rhythm. It's a very tightly wound clock that the hormones in the body, the brain, the glands. So here's some things you want to keep on track in a schedule. Sunlight. You want to be out in the sun. You want to wake up with the sun. Again, we mentioned sleep. Hydrate. Very important. Often seniors do not hydrate enough. So, and again, sometimes they have issues with going to the bathroom, but get that fluids going early in the day, not just by after mid-morning. Meals, whether you do 3 meals or 2 meals or 5 meals, just movement will help. It just gets the hormones going, and again, it's this rhythm. Bathing, a lot of people just start dropping their routines, and just because they don't have to go out as much, and then working, setting boundaries and all. And then here's another one. So a third point might be kind to your mind. Lisa, we all need in this time grace. Do you know what I mean? We need grace to understand what we're going through and not be so hard on ourselves, because what we do, it's human nature. We see the story of what may be ahead, but guess what, Lisa? It's just predictions, but
Right,
they're guesses.
right.
They're not the reality. And so see the story as for what it is. These are just possibilities, not probabilities. Focus, practice gratitude. I know we hear that a lot. It's simply saying, I'm going to focus on what is also right. What can I be grateful for? So that'd be the third one. Be kind to your mind. Here's a good one. Number 4, find moments of stillness. You
Right.
and I are very energetic people. We're enthusiastic about life, even in a coronavirus pandemic. But, let's learn to befriend and get acquainted with stillness and quietness up to a point. That's one of the things this is forcing some people to do. In many traditions, they have what's called a discipline of solitude, where they just are not, they can be at rest in being alone. Obviously, that gets hard, and we're not talking about being disconnected. Release tension. Lisa, a lot of us hold physical tension and we don't even realize it. We get so used to it. So here at the Center for Healthy Living, we teach them to do progressive muscle relaxation. That's where you tense up a group of muscles for 3 seconds. You don't need equipment. So you just tense up your hands and then release for a count of 3. Tense up your arms, and then that tensing and releasing actually will release the tension in the body. Here's a good one. This is called box breathing, related to breathing. The SEALs do this, the Navy SEALs, great people. Here it is. Here's the technique. Box breathing. Inhale for 4 seconds. Actually, let's do this. Inhale for
We'll do
4
it together.
seconds. Inhale for 4 seconds. Hold for 4 seconds. Exhale for 4 seconds. And now wait for 4 seconds, and we do it again. So this is one of the best things we can do when we wake up. This box breathing. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, and wait. And then unplug from media and screen time up to a point. And here's a good one. I think we all know what this one means. Limit time with toxic people, chaotic people. We can't always avoid them, but kind of limit time because they drain us. And then be in nature. It's so nice, especially Orange County. We have all these, especially down where you are, beautiful parks. They're open again. Okay, here's a fifth one. Be with people you enjoy. Lisa, as a therapist, I've had to walk through valleys and seasons of people's life. Here's an insight. Long before I ever worked with Kaiser, I was a paramedic. And, I actually saw people in my hands pass away. Often, guess what, Lisa? Even the last seconds or the last few days of a person's last thoughts are in their life of, did they love well? Not how much did they make or what all they did, but did they love well? The people they loved, did they love well? So be with people you enjoy. Here's a second principle under share love: forgive. Nelson Mandela said it so well. Dr. DeFille kind of popularized the quote and gave him the credit. Obviously, resentment is like drinking poison and thinking someone else is going to die. Who's dying? I mean, is it really worth it? Easier said than done, as we get hurt and wounded, but we're only destroying ourselves. To serve, nothing gets our eyes off ourselves and our misery better than to just reach out. And that's some of the more inspiring things. I love to see the news stories where people are doing these great things for their neighbors or strangers. Here's another one. I know these are just nuggets. I hope we can hold on to them. Nurture and spread hope. I would like to have a pandemic of hope. Worldwide pandemic of hope in what's really a terrible time for so many. There's an old proverb that says, hope deferred makes the heart sick, but hope realized makes the heart merry and well. I get concerned when I see people losing hope, because if you lose hope, what's the point? So spread hope, get help if you're losing hope, to find hope again. And I got a visual here. So here it is. Get to know your vitals, quotes. V stands for values, our values. What is most important to us? Again, in a time of crisis like we're going through, it causes us to say, Lisa, what really matters in life? What is my life about? What are my core values? Stephen Covey, who wrote The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, said, effective people live their value. Time to really say, what's really important? Getting the latest this or doing that, or what are those values to me? So what are the vital of V value? I, interest. What are your passions and hobbies? That's important to have these to give us some pleasure. What gets you talking or curious? What are your interests? That's an important vital sign, so to speak. T, this one's a little more personal, internal, our temperament. We all have a temperament. What are our innate preferences? Honor that, celebrate it. If we're more energetic or we're shyer, if we're more detailed or more creative, work with our temperament. How am I honoring my temperament? A, so we're on the vitals here, activities. What does the rhythm of your life look like? What are the things, kind of with the interest, what are the things we like to do on a given day? And granted, that's being changed a little with these last several months, but try to get into the flow of those. Now, this is another one, very important, life mission. So VITAL, life mission. What gets you up in the morning and inspires you toward another day? And again, sometimes we're challenged with that, especially now, but that's so important. What has my life been about? What did I want to do in my life? What do I still want to do? We still have a season ahead of us. It's so important, no matter coronavirus or not. And finally, S, strengths. What are my talents and aptitudes? Also the emotional parts of our character. So this is a nice acronym for the listeners. What are my vitals? Not just my cholesterol and my blood pressure and everything, but my life. And so I can share one last thing, if it'll help, for those that are a little concerned about maybe not themselves, but somebody that they feel is maybe going into a mental health crisis. So here's some classic symptoms to be aware of, okay? If they start to withdraw, they start to rely too much on alcohol or substance use, recent major stressors, struggling with just to fulfill obligations, lack of self-care, changes in outlook, and hopelessness. So again, many of our listeners, maybe they're doing okay, but it's a challenge, but they're concerned about a loved one. So be very patient with these people, nurture them, nudge them towards getting help, nurture hope in them. And we will get through this. It's just flowing with it. As I said, Lisa, you and I, it hits us. It's probably not every moment we feel this way, but when it hits, roll with it, touch somebody, reach out, do something, and that kind of wave passes, because we as a country and as a world will get through this, and we'll have many things to learn, and we'll be better for it. So those of you that are Kaiser members or curious about what Kaiser has to offer, you can just go to kp.org /Orange County, and we'll talk about all the wonderful resources we have. Kaiser, to its credit, looks at a person, the totality of their life. They want to be with you as long as they can. They see you comprehensively. They really want to touch you in terms of prevention and wellness and be available to you, certainly in the COVID-19. So that's the simplest way to just go online. All right.
All right. Very good. Thank you so much. It was very nice to meet you and to have you on. These are great information and great tips. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, and may everybody be well and get through this in flying colors. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. God bless.
And we'll be right back after this.